So I'm going to go ahead and record it. So thank you so much for coming on. If I could just have you introduce yourself so that way we can kind of know about your journey.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Patience Standy. I am the CEO and owner of Seamless Signature Solutions. I've been a notary for just over a year now. I got my commission back in of course kids wake up right now. Um
It's fine.
no, yeah. So I was like, oh, please be quiet. And they were sleeping so quietly while I'm getting ready, of course.
Yeah,
And then the
yeah,
second that we start, they
yeah.
start making noise. So, yes, I'm the owner of Seamless Signature Solutions. I've been a notary for a year. I'm a loan signing agent. I'm also a remote notary, and I just started like diversifying my services with adding field inspections in as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's been part of my journey.
Cool. And so I kind of wanted to ask a little bit more about field inspections, if that's all right, because I've seen stuff about it, but I have no idea basically what it is and then kind of what you have to do.
Yeah, yeah. So, there's different, I guess, paths that you can take with it.
Hmm.
Just like with any, I feel like notary service, you don't necessarily have to be a notary to do it. There are different, people that will work with field inspections. But I have seen like on one of them, notary is one of the like job descriptions that you can choose as one of the vendors for the company. So honestly, I found a list that just showed me like signing services. And I just started applying to work with the companies. Some of them require background checks, like with loan signings, and some of them don't. Some of them you have to pay for. Like I view it, they have you pay a $10 fee to start the background check, but after
Hmm.
you do five with them, they'll refund you the $10.
Okay.
Versus others will have you like you could just submit a background check that you've had, or they don't require one at all. Because like I mentioned, there's different places that you'll go, like homes. So they don't want you just going into like people's homes and they haven't, verified you're not a crazy person.
Yeah.
So like for example, the one field service company, they do measurements of the home because the vendor, they do fences. So you would need a like measuring tape. That was definitely like field but like learned by fire. That was like my very first one. I went to the gentleman's house to measure his home. I couldn't find my measuring tape because my 5-year-old loves to play with it. So it ended up kind of working out because I got one that was like you can just push it and it will measure for you. So it was a lot easier. So I'm like, this is a investment in my business, and then I'll just hide this one from the kid so he can't get it.
Yeah.
Um, but the guy's yard was covered in vegetation. So you definitely don't want to do it if you're like squeamish or like scared of critters and things like that. Cause I'm like, I felt like I was in the jungle in his backyard, like climbing through, like he had these big, like, because I'm in Florida. I think you're in Florida too, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, these huge palms in the back of his yard that I'm trying to climb through to get the measurement of his backyard. And then, all right, so some of the companies have apps and some of them don't.
Yeah.
So this one, it had an app and they wanted you to videotape the full yard.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. So I was trying to videotape the yard and the video would not upload. It would not upload to it. So it's like, oh, we can't get it to work. I think because it was a long video. He had a large yard.
Hmm.
So longer videos, they tend to have issues. Even on like Google, will have it won't let you send but so large. So
Hmm.
I tried 3 times and I'm like, no, I'm not going back there again. You're just gonna have to take whatever is on here. I don't get at this point.
Yeah. Right.
So but they took it, they accepted it. And that was just a funny experience for
Yeah.
sure. I like that company because they do pay like next day you know,
Mhm.
you stripe. So that's kind of a good thing versus like, you know, loan signings, they may take, they're like net 60 or net 30 or something like that. So
Yeah.
that's, I feel like the positive of the field service inspections, because you're not having to wait so long to get paid. But some of them are like not good pay. Like some of
Oh,
them are offering like $8 for uh a thing, and I'm like, no, I'm not driving out there to do $8. I mean, if it was
that's
like up the street, maybe,
mhm.
but not to like climb through someone's yard and do all this.
What's
Definitely wear pants.
yeah, yeah, because I wouldn't have thought about that, you know, if you're just
No.
like if I didn't know and they were like, "Oh, do a field inspection," I would think that you just go out and like, I don't know,
No, yeah, you're
you
not
know.
thinking it's not. And then what made that one worse too, because being in Florida, it was hot. I
Yeah.
had scheduled the guy at like 11 o'clock, but at that point it's already 90 degrees outside.
Hmm.
So my phone's overheating. My phone's like, no, I'm not gonna take pictures right now. I'm like, please. I'm like, I'm hot too, please. Go back in the car. Like, and it's like, no, we're too hot. Like a diva, like, no, we're not gonna take pictures right now. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh
So that's
no.
something you have to keep in mind too. Like if you're in a warmer climate, you're gonna want to, you know, schedule it either early in the morning before it gets warm or later in the evening when it's cooler and the sun's going down. So it's definitely something I've kept in mind. But it's also more flexible too, to where you schedule it according to what works for you. You know, they'll give
Oh.
you like 5 hours once you accept, this is just an example of one of them, 5 hours to once you accept the job to reach out to the person that, or some of them you don't have to reach out, you just have to put in a time that you're going to go out there. It just depends on what the instructions say,
Mhm.
but you'll schedule it. You sometimes they don't even want to continue anymore. So then you just notate in that they're like, hey, no, I don't want the fence anymore, or I'm not working with them anymore. Or like when I went out there yesterday and the lady was like, no, we don't, normally they don't take pictures for that kind of thing. So we're not gonna sign. So I was like, okay, but they still paid me anyway.
Oh, well, that's nice.
So like with loan signings, how they'll do a trip fee or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so that's just something, sometimes people are not comfortable like talking to people. So if that's not your vibe, then, you know, that might be something to think of.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of other things that were, that I didn't, oh,
What do
like
you did you have to do like training to be able to get onto some of these companies?
not real, some of them do. The ones that I have worked with, um, there's one that had like training on their app.
Hmm.
Or like they had some videos on their YouTube page. I remember for one of them. Um, but when I say training for that, it was very loose. It was like answer these questions. Do you agree to these terms? It wasn't anything like you had to spend like hours doing or anything like that. I do know that
Hmm.
some of them, if you are really trying to actually be like a field inspector, there is a certification that you can take.
Hmm.
Um, I wish I could remember what it was off the top of my head. Um, it's something I can send to you just because I can't remember it right now.
That's okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there are some if you want to, because I did see another lady, she's like, yeah, I made 4 grand doing field inspections, and it is something that you could make money doing. Because it's like uh with loan signings or any job, like when you get more experience, they'll pay you more,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So versus, you know, those $8 jobs that I'm seeing, there you're gonna get more money than that if you know you show you have that experience with
Hmm.
them. Um,
So
so
what would be like a good, like if something pops up on the app and then it's like a good price for a field inspection?
the few that I've worked with, I think the highest that I saw so far was like 40.
Hmm.
Um, and those inspections took me maybe 30 minutes. So it was at H&M actually. So I went and I just photographed around the store. Those they like to see whatever like damage is
Oh.
for the like inside of the store.
Mm-hmm.
And some stores are larger, so they have multiple stories. And then they like you to do like a 360 of like different areas of the store so they can actually see the condition and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to like um tell the manager that you're there. You're
Okay.
like, hey, I'm just taking pictures and inspections. Sometimes they have you sign like a log that you are a vendor inside of the store.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, I didn't say anything, and she's like, wait, you're not allowed to just like take random pictures. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to
Order,
be
like,
there.
yeah.
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 Because sometimes they don't even tell the employees or anything that they're coming. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good for you to let them know, like, hey, this is my purpose, this is why I'm here. And that one was good because they had multiple stores that were like right in the same area. So I just scheduled them all like right back to back, and it
Okay.
was $40 for each store. So it was pretty easy to go in and do.
Yeah.
So but I've just started. Like I said, I'm trying to challenge myself to do 100 of them to see,
That's
because I'm like, that first one was definitely interesting. Uh Challenge, I would say, especially being out in the heat and everything.
yeah.
And
That
then
was your first one?
first one, oh my God. First one, so it's like, oh my God, I hate these. I'm never doing it again. I was like, no. Like even I did the same thing with loan signings. I was like, they can be very challenging. Even
Yeah.
though I wouldn't say hard, but when you're scheduling and you've got them back to back, someone's late or they take longer, they don't have their ID, they don't have this or that, and you're behind an hour in the day, you're like, oh my God, how am I gonna do all this? So I was like, no, it was just my first one. Let me keep going. I'm gonna do 100 and see if I still like them.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm like, I don't like them, but if the money's there, maybe I'll still do them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just depends. I would also say I'd recommend getting like portable chargers or like a phone charging case, because if you're taking multiple like pictures and videos, your phone's
Mm-hmm.
gonna die. So I had that happen to me too. My phone, the the fuse went out in my car. So like the charger port that's in your
Yeah.
car. So normally I'm charging my phone all day, you're using GPS and all that kind of stuff. The battery's dying. It stopped working. I did a loan signing. I did a remote signing in my car as well too.
Yeah.
So I
Oh, I lost ya. Oh no. Patience. I can't hear you if you can hear me.
are you still there? It froze.
Yeah, I'm still
Oh,
here. I
oh.
couldn't hear you. I was like, oh no. Because we've been
Yeah,
having storms. Yeah.
yeah, it's been snowing all week. It's been bad. Um, what was I saying?
We were talking
Oh,
about
yeah,
you did a remote signing in your car and then
the charger port in my car like stopped working, and I was trying to plug in the charger and everything. I had to change the fuse in my car yesterday, so now it's working. But yeah, that's why I recommend having some kind of portable charger like with you and charged, or their charging cases for your phone, because you're gonna have to plug your phone up to the like wherever you're taking pictures at, or you're
yeah.
not gonna be able to finish the inspection. So
Yeah. That's exactly what I do when I do like my remote stuff. And I'm glad that you said that about the car because not all of the time, but sometimes I do the remote online notarizations within my car. And it's like setting up a little office. So
mhm.
I bring everything though, because I used to not bring my charger and I'd be like, no, I'm gonna just do one. Always bring your charger.
Yes,
Always
always. Because there'd be that one time your laptop was on like 10% and
hmm
that's what happened. My laptop was dying and I had brought the charger because it had gotten unplugged for some reason. And I was on the end, I'm like trying to do the oath. I'm like, okay, bye.
I've done that too. Where it's like, okay. And then I think I bought, so for the old computer, I bought extra chargers just to have like all over the place. Cause then I got super paranoid about it. Cause I was like, I can't have this happen anymore. Um, yeah, but I do like the mobile aspect of a bunch of the stuff that the notaries do and what we do.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
get why people have um the generators now, because before I was like, no, don't spend that $100+ or whatever. And then because I just have an inverter that plugs into the charger port, and that you can
Hmm.
just plug like a normal adapter into.
Hmm.
But after that situation, I was like, okay, I can get why. Because if you had like a solar powered one that was just already ready to go, you wouldn't need your car power to use it. So
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I got the fuse fixed, so it should be good now. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess having my car for like 5 years now, something should need
Yeah.
to fix it. So
So do you have like a mobile printer station or anything in your car, or is it just mostly?
I do. I don't really use it, to be honest. I will
Yeah.
usually just come back home. A lot of the time in between signings, I have the time in between to come back and do the scans. I
Hmm.
do, if for some reason I do have them, I have like an old printer that's like a 4-in-1 that I've plugged up into. Um, it was giving me the hardest time, so I don't even fool with it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So
I know my printer is my problem child too. Like I don't even I've if I can avoid it, I will. Like it's I don't like my printer. And it's not the printer, I think it's me, but that's okay.
no, I like the one that I have at home. I have a brother, like dual tray.
Yeah,
Um, and I know some people will just like transport the printer back and forth. And I've thought about doing that, but
it's
I think
heavy.
I've just like
Yeah.
scheduled enough space in between so that I have time, or I'll let them know, like, hey, I've got one right after this.
Hmm.
I'll send scans at this time.
So would you basically recommend to account for like an hour for a field inspection? Because I know sometimes you said that it was like 30 minutes, but if you're new,
So usually they'll tell you, like inside of the instructions, they'll say estimated time is 30 minutes or
hmm
90 minutes. Like the residential one that I did, they wanted detailed pictures of everything. And these are
hmm
like 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom homes with garages. So the very first one took me about 90 minutes to do.
okay.
But there were multiple homes within that complex. So that particular property had a lot of issues.
Hmm.
Like the one apartment, or excuse me, the one room, the lights and stuff were not working. So,
Oh.
I had to kind of take pictures and like document and explain what the issues were.
Hmm.
And so that one took longer versus another one in that property. There was no issues. It took me 30 minutes because I knew exactly where they wanted pictures of, what they wanted
Hmm.
pictures. So it kind of got easier the more that you do it.
Yeah.
Versus like I said, the store, they didn't take as long. So
Hmm.
yeah, it just depends.
Yeah. Okay. That's and then so is it usually like insurance companies that are
Um,
sending you out
so
or
those ones were actually, the residential one was like the landlord. Um,
oh.
and they knew versus
Hmm.
like some of the stores that I've gone to, they're like, what are you doing here? They actually told the residents like, hey, you have until such and such a date to complete this.
Hmm.
So they knew to expect me, and not be like, hey, what do you want? Versus even they were even still uncomfortable. Like the one guy followed me around the whole time that I was doing it. Um, Versus the other lady, she just sat in her home. She was like, do you need anything? And she just let me, go about.
Hmm.
He explained to me, he was like, I've been renting here for so long. They've never had me do this. You know,
Hmm.
he was so, and then another couple was like, no, we don't want you in the home. And because I guess they had stuff that they didn't want photographed and whatnot.
Oh,
And I was just like, maybe they won't require you to do it. I don't know, reach out to your landlord.
yeah.
And so it really just depends. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't think about that. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but there is probably some times where you're just denied and then do you just have to basically report it like, hey, client refused or whatever?
Yeah, I'll put a like notation inside of that, or like the companies with the apps, they usually they have a chat in there to where you can explain to them, hey, this is what's going on, they refuse to sign. And
Yeah.
I'll take a picture of being like, hey, I was actually here, I did,
Hmm.
come to the property, just so they can be like, did you actually go,
Yeah. That's
um
smart. That's a good
yeah.
idea. Yeah.
And they have geolocation on the apps too. So they'll
Oh,
see like it'll pop up a notification like, um, are you actually at this location because you look really far away, so you can't just like, and then it'll make you think too, like, am I at the right location? You'll like double check, like, because like I mentioned, like the HM, like you could have actually gone to the wrong store, so you
yeah.
make sure. And the one that I went to the other day, the lady was like, are you sure? Like here, and I'm like, I pulled up the address. I'm like, this is you, right? Like I triple checked before I go. And she's like, yeah, because she didn't know. They didn't tell her. So
Hmm.
she's like, what are you doing here? But
So
that's
they don't usually have you like call ahead to confirm. You just kind of
it depends.
show up.
Some do. The some of the commercial ones, no, I don't have
Yeah.
to get notification. It's just saying it'll tell you to put it at a time that you're gonna go out there, and then once you're on site to notify the manager, because usually there's some kind of like signature that they require.
Hmm.
And that's why in that case that lady was like, no, I'm not gonna sign.
Yeah.
Or the other ones they do know, they're like, okay, take pictures of this is messed up. Or with the residential ones, definitely you have to, those ones you're gonna have to give a notification because the homeowner is gonna want to know when you're coming, and you have to schedule a good time that works for them.
Okay. Okay. And then if you don't mind, so I was looking at your website and everything. So you do remote online notarization as
Mhm.
well.
Yes.
How have you I obviously have a soft spot for that, but
Yes.
how have you liked it so far?
Honestly, that's what I got into notary work for, to be a
Yeah.
notary public, because I'm a homebody. So it's actually so much out of my comfort zone going and doing the field inspections, because I'm like, ew, I don't want to leave the house. And then I have the kids. So
Yeah.
it's easier for me to be able to do it remotely.
Mm.
But I'm actually a website developer. And yes, so notary is second job for me.
Yeah.
So I got into it, and then I have a mentee that I'm working with. She's new to notary work as well, and
Mhm.
she's new to loan signings. So we mentioned field inspections. We were both talking about it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn first, and then I'll see. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I like to be a mentor, because I also mentee excuse me, high school students with the website development as well. So I'm like, I feel like in order to be able to do all of it, I have to learn first.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I hope he loves me, like knows how much I love her, that I'm like going out and like doing this so I can be able to, teach on it as
Teach.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
for being the mentor though, because that's not always easy, and it's not easy to go out to other people's houses
No,
at
it's very
all.
uncomfortable. Like while that guy was like watching me the whole time in his house, like he was like 6 feet away, like, what is she doing? Like the whole time. Like, trying to take pictures so fast. Because I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
so like I get it. Like if someone were to try to come into my house right now, oh no. And because I was like, I've had the leasing office to my company like come in, but it's like
Mhm.
a quick, let me look at the water heater, let me check this, and they're in and out in like
Yeah.
a minute.
Yeah.
Versus, I'm 30 minutes in his house taking detailed pictures of everything. And he's like, no, the washer and dryer is mine. I'm like, I'm sorry, they just want pictures. And
Oh
and
God.
even the store too, it's awkward because there's customers in the store. So,
Yeah.
they're watching you and they're like, why are you taking pictures of me? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, it's an inspection.
You're in the way. I'm trying to get
I
something
know.
else.
Like, and I'll try to wait for them to walk by, but at the same time, I'm also trying to get in and out. So I'm
Yeah.
just like boom, boom, boom. And if you're in the picture, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like the diverseness of the income that, you can basically make for yourself, because I feel
Yeah.
like so many people have always, like, I did 9 to 5 for almost my whole,
Yeah.
like, I was in
This is so new
finance.
for me. Yeah, doing it like, and you have to change your mindset from working for somebody at a set time to just being you're like, hey, I want flexible, but you don't realize like what flexible really means.
Yeah, it's like, no, that means 3 o'clock in the morning when there's someone that is available. I'm like, okay, this is fine. This is what
Yeah,
I signed up for. Like,
exactly.
yeah, but it is nice, and especially with like, because I have my little as well, so that makes it a little bit easier, but then also harder too. So it's like back
It's
and
a
forth.
balance. Yeah, it's
It's
a
a
very
yeah,
hard balance that you have to create. And
yeah.
yeah, it's definitely been an interesting journey for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think, and I don't know if you feel like this too, but I was talking to, or like I was listening to a podcast about women in business, and I was very happy because they were telling me, or like they were saying that sometimes there is a good amount of sacrifice that comes into being an entrepreneur rather than doing like 9 to 5 of, there's going to be times where you miss stuff and there's going to be times where you get to, spend the whole day and just go to the zoo and not worry about anything. So
Absolutely.
it's like that balance is always very, very difficult, I think.
No, yeah, you have to choose like those days that you don't have, signings or work. You're like, hey, am I going to spend this marketing more, or am I going to relax a little bit and, just go to the pool with my kids? And you're
Yeah.
like, no, I want more money.
It's it's hard too because I'm like, that is the thing that not a lot of people talk about, but the fact of it's very hard for me to be present sometimes because I'm like, I should be doing more, marketing. I should be researching this. I should be learning this skill. And it's like, no,
No,
you know,
yeah.
we're doing something cool. Like just I don't know. I don't know how to
No,
shut that
yeah.
off.
It's been hard to like create that boundary even to myself,
Yeah.
what hours am I strictly doing notary? What hours am I doing like website development? What hours am I, doing self-development, or,
Mhm.
you know, what is just family time? And teaching the kids that too, like, hey, mom is working, mom is doing stuff. I
Mhm.
need you guys to be patient with me. And we're all learning,
Yeah.
So it's been an adjustment for all of us for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think that I don't think that I would go back to a 9 to 5 just
I
because
can't.
I know, I know, I've been ruined.
Yeah, no, I cannot. I cannot just like even thinking about, because I don't ever just sit at my desk for a straight 8 hours,
Mm-mm.
I'm cooking or I'm cleaning, or there's a doctor's appointment or there's a signing, or whatever it
Yeah,
is. So it's
yeah,
it's honestly impossible. Like I don't like, how so many people are like, how did our parents do it? Like how did they do it then? Because and it's just structured differently now. Like I
yeah,
cannot. And dropping kids off at school when school starts back up, there's just too
yeah.
much to do to have it at a set time.
Well, I was also thinking about like spring break and everything like that. Like we can kind of, and I'm not there yet where spring break is a thing, but we can kind of move things around or just kind of not take as much work on during the
Exactly.
times that we do. So I do really like that because I have other parents and the 9 to 5 people that are absolutely scrambling. And I'm like, uh,
Become a notary.
yeah, become a notary. Yeah. I've tried, I have tried to get anyone that is in my circle to become a notary because I'm like, you guys, we'll be at the beach and I'll go do a notarization at like a Starbucks. I have like a nice shirt,
Yeah.
and then do the notarization and then come back and they're like, so you just did that whole entire thing and you got, this amount. And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, you can do this too. Like,
Yeah.
it'll be fun. Let's do it
I know.
together.
I'm debating because like my neighbor is like one of my really good friends as well. And
Yeah,
I know she's been like struggling, and I'm like, I should tell her. I'm like,
yeah.
I
I
don't
know.
know. Like
I I see the forums too where it's like because I'm in a bunch of mom groups and they're like, I'm stay at home and I do XYZ and I want to bring in some extra income for my family. I'm like, become a notary. Like, it's yeah, because it's hard, but then sometimes you can pick up stuff that pops up and,
Yeah.
decline stuff that doesn't. So, but same with field inspections. I feel like that would be a really good avenue to explore too. Um, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just like any of the notary work, you can work when you want to or when you don't want to,
yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah. So, um, I think that was all of my questions. Thank you for taking the time to answer all of that. I find the whole community to be super open and helpful with any explanations or anything. But how would someone find you if they wanted to find out a little bit? Do you offer mentorship or anything for field inspections?
Not for
Sorry
field
to put you on the spot.
inspections. No, no, not for field inspections.
Mhm.
Right now, my mentorship is mainly with loan signings and Ron.
Okay.
Um, I do offer it. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, my company is called Seamless Signature Solutions. I'm on
Mhm.
Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
My website is also seamlesssignaturesolutions.com. You can definitely connect with me on any of those platforms.
Okay.
And my mentorship right now is just $20 a month. I'm working on streamlining a full course to everything with marketing. I
Mhm.
actually am working on becoming, actually, I'm just going to say there's some stuff to come. I'm not there yet.
Yes,
I
yes.
haven't announced all
To
that
be
yet.
determined.
Yes.
So, but the other thing that I want to ask you, because I do know that this is one of the top questions that get asked all the time. Do you know any other languages?
I speak Spanish. Yes, I'm
Speak
bilingual.
Spanish?
Mhm.
Okay. And so you're in Florida, so you can do the biometrics. What platforms are you on for Ron?
I am on Blue Notary.
Hmm.
Notarize.
Okay.
And sorry, you used to work
We're
for them, didn't you?
we're gonna have to edit this out, but yes, I did.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, yeah.
I can start over. Yeah, so I am on Blue Notary,
Hmm.
Proof, One Notary,
Hmm.
um, Cyberize It, and Notary Hub. Those are the five.
Okay. Okay, that's great though, because sometimes like when I'm talking with different signing companies or different just title companies in general, they have specifics where they're like,
Yeah,
I need a Spanish speaking Ron that lives in Florida that can do biometrics and is on, one notary. And
yeah,
that's perfect. So I'm glad that you told me so that way I can send work their way.
for sure.
Yeah, but thank you so much. And I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here, but thank you for watching.
All right, thank you.